this will be great if we get it done, and if we don't get it done, it's just going to be something that we're not going to like, and that's okay, and I understand that very well. But I think we have a chance to do something very, very important for the public, very, very important for the people of our country that we love.
So that from just a few hours ago at the White House, President Trump responding to the action by the Senate Republicans. Moments ago, he sent out 2 more messages, this by way of Twitter, with 0 Democrats, 0 in all caps, to help in a failed, expensive and dangerous Obamacare is the Dems' legacy. The Republican senators are working hard. Here's another one. I just finished a great meeting of the Republican senators concerning health care. They really want to get it right, unlike Obamacare. I want to bring in the panel. Editor-in-Chief of Lyset, Laura Ingraham, is here tonight. Mara Liasson, national political correspondent, National Public Radio at the White House today, also, and syndicated columnist Charles Krauthammer. Good evening to all 3 of you. Nice to be back with you. The last time we were sitting here was in February arguing a travel ban. Tonight we can argue the health care and the fate of it tonight. How much trouble is it really, really in, or do we know yet?
Well, when Mitch McConnell is unable to deliver on time, you know this is difficult, because he is sort of the wizard of Capitol Hill. He's an incredible technician, and he wasn't able to pull it together in time. The one thing he has going for him, other than his own skills, is the fact that in that CBO report, which generally had a negative effect in terms of public opinion, they projected a $320 billion surplus, money for the Treasury, coming out of this bill, which means that Mitch McConnell can deal from that lump of money, some of it, maybe majority of it, to buy off, let's be very realistic about this, to buy off the senators who are holding out. For example, if there's somebody who thinks that we should be doing more for opioid, you could throw in a few billion.
Ohio.
Right. If you've got a ton of money, so he's got chips that he can deal, and having it go over the 4th of July weekend is probably a net negative, because there'll be a lot of public reaction against it, but it does give him extra time to call on the senators one at a time and to be old-fashioned about this and say, what do you want? How much will it be? And does that buy your vote?
We saw a lot of that.
Crudely, I don't mean it.
We saw a lot of that 7 years ago with Obamacare. Marty just came from the White House.
This is exactly.
We had Senator Barrasso on a short time ago. What is your sense about the position the president takes now in trying to push them over the line, as he did the House in early May?
Well, I think he's leaving a lot of the heavy lifting and the negotiating and the haggling. The bazaar is open to Mitch McConnell. And the reason that I am not as optimistic as Charles, Mitch McConnell meant to do all of that this week.
Right.
This was the week he was going to give those people more opioid money, and he couldn't. And the problem is that the president has focused almost exclusively on the Obamacare exchanges, the individual marketplace. That's only 8% of Americans get their health care that way. The bigger chunk of this bill, the true kind of biggest change that is making Republicans so nervous, is the Medicaid retrenchment, transforming Medicaid from an open-ended entitlement to a block grant. Mitch McConnell does not have a magic wand to solve that problem, and that is why people like Susan Collins or Dean Heller are not going to vote for it.
Let me characterize, in the words of Mitch McConnell, what he had to say after meeting with the president. Came out just about 5:30, 1 hour ago, and said this.
It'll be dealt with in one of 2 ways. Either Republicans will agree and change the status quo, or the markets will continue to collapse, and we'll have to sit down with Senator Schumer. And my suspicion is that any negotiation with the Democrats would include none of the reforms that we would like to make, both on the market side and the Medicaid side.
So you can pick one or option 2. Laura.
Well, that's all well and good, and I hear a lot about Mitch McConnell as the brilliant tactician, and Mitch McConnell's an expert and all that. And he has been in many regards. But this is a complete embarrassment for the Republicans. This is poorly coordinated. It basically de minimis communications on the part of Republicans. In almost every state, you see the people revolting against what's happened on health care. They were supposed to deliver this. The fact that the White House comes out and they say, well, we're having great conversations. Come on. We got Mitch McConnell, the brilliant tactician, trying to shift blame. In the New York Times a few minutes ago, a story comes out that says, well, they want to deal with Pence because the Trump people can't really deliver. Well, Mitch McConnell should deliver. This is his caucus.
Well, he still has time.
No,
to be fair, the calendar could extend to early August.
You go over the 4th of July holiday. That's Independence Day. Republicans promise independence from the Obamacare mandate. They promise repeal of Obamacare. And the dirty truth is, this is not repeal of Obamacare. There's a lot of the mandates still in there. A lot of the regulations haven't been lifted. And we can all sit here and say, well, they can do their own corn husker kickback. That's what the Republican Party is. They're going to do the horse trading to try to make this. There's a reason that big pharma stocks, insurance stocks, and hospital stocks have gone up over the last 2 weeks, because very little is changing when it comes to bringing down the cost of health care in this legislation. I think it's a pig in a poke, and I think it's a loser for the Republicans.
Do you think Republicans should be as bearish as Laura is tonight?
Well, their problem is not, forgive me, this is not a failure of communication, as in Cool Hand Luke. This is a failure of expectations. The country does not want to see the entitlements that were handed out by Obamacare retracted. That's the issue. It's not communication. It's not the lack of coordination between the House and the Senate. It's the fact that Medicare was inflated to, it was supposed to be for women and poor children and the disabled. It was inflated by Obama to include able-bodied workers up to 400% of the poverty line. So it is completely out of its original intent. The fight now, and the reason that a lot of the moderates Republicans are scared, is because under this bill it goes from 400% down to 350%. This is a marginal retrenchment of what makes you eligible for Medicare. And people are used to what was. They don't want to give it back. That's the reason that Obamacare repeal is in trouble. The country is not where it was 7 years ago. It's the reason that the left usually wins, because when you hand out goodies since the New Deal, it is extremely hard to bring them back. That's the core issue here.
Essentially in trouble?
Yes,
or
listen to what
impossible.
Look, what Laura is saying is really important. The base of the Republican Party expects Obamacare to be repealed. They've been voting for this in Congress for 7 years, and they said, just give us the House, give us the Senate. All we need is the White House. And they got it. And if they don't deliver on this, this is the political bind they're in, because their voters expect them to do this. And there are many Republicans who think if they can't get this done, they're not going to get tax reform, and they're not going to get any of the other things that they want to do.
Can they govern or not? I mean, I disagree that we've had such great communications on Obamacare. A year ago, Obamacare was a lot less popular than it is today. Now, we elected President Trump. We got the Republicans in the House and the Senate. And we don't have a communication strategy nationwide, even with the differences that Republicans have in how to deal with this, that indicate if we do the following, the cost of health care is going to come down. We're going to bring transparency to pricing. We're going to have hospitals having to post what a colonoscopy costs here versus what one costs there. We're going to bring the prices down like it occurred for LASIK eye surgery to every common surgery in the United States. That's what's going to happen. I think if a really good, strong communication strategy on a free market approach to health care was done, I think you'd have a much better look at the public approval polls for both the Republicans and for Obamacare. I think that was absent here. I think it's part White House failure. I think it's part congressional Republican failure. There's a lot of wonky think tank guys in Capitol Hill, but they don't speak in practical terms that most people can understand. That's a failure. And the Democrats, of course, are exploiting it.
Senator Ron Johnson, the Republican from Wisconsin, longtime businessman, is making that very case.
Well,
Go for innovation, and that will bring prices down.
I mean, it happens. It's happened in technology. It's happened with procedures that are not regulated, like regular procedures are regulated. And there's, again, I'll go back to pharma stocks, insurance stocks, and hospital stocks are all going up. They all had their hand in the writing of this legislation.
More